need to. I know he must be the busiest man on planet Earth this time of the season. That's David Ornstein, the Athletics football correspondent, who joins us right now. Firstly, David, really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. Let's get straight to this. Manchester United and Chelsea look like they've agreed a deal for Mason Mount. It was bid made, bid rejected, bid made, bid rejected. How have we got to where we got to now?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. And it's an exhausting window already. This story in itself was a difficult one because obviously contract talks between Chelsea and Mason Mount didn't go the way that all parties might have wanted at the outset. And so there was a realization that this was something that needed to come to a head in the summer. Either he signs a new deal or he's going to be sold, because Chelsea have a pretty proactive policy now under their new ownership of not wanting players to go into their final year. Ideally, they wouldn't want players to go into their final 2 years as they really try and restructure their squad at the club and the way in which they do things. Mount has become the most high-profile example. So amid the contract situation, there was plenty of interest building in him from a number of clubs. And I think I revealed maybe a couple of months ago now that he was leaning towards joining Manchester United. So then it was really a case of whether the clubs could come to an agreement. And over the course of time, we've seen offers made and rejected. Felt like it got a bit tense at certain moments, with over the weekend Manchester United seemingly setting a sort of limit on the level that they would be prepared to go to, and Chelsea wanting more than that. The suggestion that Manchester United might be out of the race and focusing on other targets, but I think their interest always remained, and they knew Mason Mount wanted the move to happen. And by the end, I think it was relatively cordial. The talks have taken place, I'm sure, between Mount's camp and Chelsea and Manchester United. And they all seem to, in the end, have prioritised the player himself. And, there will be a lot said and written about this whole saga, a lot of opinions on what shouldn't have happened, whether it's a good move, a bad move, a good sale, a bad sale. But the fact of the matter is an agreement has been reached for Mason Mount to join Manchester United for a fee of around £55 million fixed, with a potential £5 million in add-ons, which are being described as difficult to reach. And if they are reached, then Manchester United would be delighted to pay them because they're performance and success related. It's going to be a 5-year contract with an additional 1 year that can be activated, and he'll need to undergo a medical and complete that move, which I expect to happen probably next week. There was a desire from all parties for him not to have to return to pre-season training with Chelsea if this move was going to happen, to start with Manchester United as early as possible, and it seems it's going to pan out that way.
Hi, David. A lot of Manchester United fans want to know that now that Mason Mount's in the bag, and like you said, it's going to have a lot of opinion. Andre Onana. Are Manchester United turning their attentions to a goalkeeper now? What's your understanding of that situation?
Well, it's quite complicated because of the ownership situation at Man United about exactly what they're able to do. It was always quite clear that there would be budget for a Mason Mount level deal. But beyond that, we're not so certain. And of course, many people want to see the ownership situation clarified as quickly as possible. And if there is to be a takeover, maybe more funds will be released. In terms of the operations on a day-to-day basis, John Murtagh leading the recruitment setup, it's being regarded as business as usual. And so they are pursuing options in their priority positions, which are striker, number 9, and also goalkeeper. Midfield was one of those. You don't know exactly how the chronology will go, and it seems that Mason Mount has fallen first, but they'll continue those pursuits. And so with us not knowing what's going to happen with David De Gea, but clearly a good chance that he will leave. He'll be becoming a free agent. And although the conversations continue, there's massive uncertainty there. Onana is one of the options that Manchester United are considering, talking to his representatives. He won't be the only one, and a lot will depend on what does eventually happen with David De Gea. I think United will be bringing in a goalkeeper regardless, and definitely Onana is a candidate, but I'm not aware of anything being advanced or done, so we'll just have to watch this space on that one.
David, Arsenal fans up and down the country, all over the world, celebrating the Declan Rice news that you broke yesterday as well. Arsenal and West Ham coming to terms on that deal. I guess there still needs to be things ironed out, though, in terms of the payment structure. What can you tell us? What do West Ham want? What are Arsenal willing to do?
Yeah, first and foremost, all credit to Sammy Mockbell of the Daily Mail on that one. He was first off the mark in this competitive industry and has done great work around it, like many of my peers and colleagues. Really outstanding stuff. Of course, they've agreed a fee, which is that record for a British player, if and when it goes through, £100 million plus 5 million in add-ons that was submitted a couple of nights ago, and West Ham were prepared to accept that, but the payment terms needed to be structured to their liking. And reports suggest that Arsenal were looking to do it over a fairly long period of time. West Ham might want it over a fairly short period of time. We don't know exactly what percentages, what comes immediately, what comes later, and in various installments. I'm not privy to that level of detail. But the last I heard, Arsenal were still due to be coming back to West Ham with their proposal for how it would work. And all parties are seeking to reach a compromise on that before they can fully agree a deal. And once that deal is agreed, I'm sure he'll be given permission to finalise the personal terms, undergo a medical, and then become an Arsenal player in what's going to be one of the biggest deals of the summer, if not the biggest, and one of the biggest we've seen in the market, full stop. And that's why there's been so much excitement. But the way things are going, the expectation is that, Arsenal fans can be very excited. And I'm sure West Ham fans will be pleased to have recouped such a substantial fee.
Just before we move on from Arsenal, were Manchester City ever properly interested in Declan Rice, from your understanding?
Yeah, absolutely. Their interest was serious, and you don't have serious interest. You don't make bids of £80 million plus 10 million in add-ons and try to sign a player. It could have fallen their way in different circumstances unless you are serious about a player. It came largely off the back of Ilkay Gundogan leaving. I'm not sure West Ham were planning for Declan Rice before that moment, but when it was finally decided by Gundogan that he would be departing as a free agent to Barcelona, then Pep Guardiola and the City hierarchy decided that Rice is one they would like to go in for. And we can say what we want about they've already got Rodri in that style of player, but Manchester City need to bolster their midfield, and Declan Rice is a versatile player at a great age with good experience and attributes and qualities. And they went in for him. It was a credible pursuit. But clearly Arsenal were prepared to go to a higher financial level. And once they did, Manchester City didn't feel that that was the level that they wanted to go for. And I think we should respect all of these decisions. What might have been right for Arsenal financially might not have been right for Manchester City. And they've all got their different needs and priorities. And there'll be other factors in terms of the players' preference and, the projects at both respective clubs. But yeah, Manchester City were there. Arsenal look like they're going to win the day, and let's see if Manchester City go for somebody else as an alternative.
Final one from us, David. Again, really appreciate you giving us some time here. Harry Kane, Bayern Munich looked like they came in with a deal of around 70 million euros. That was completely blocked, if you like, by Daniel Levy. They will come in again. What's the situation with Harry Kane and Bayern Munich being a good landing spot for him?
Well, it's the $1 million question, really, or 150 million pound question, because only
Is that the fee, David?
Listen, Daniel Levy and Tottenham don't want to lose Harry Kane. It's been well reported that they want to keep him. They would like to try to extend his contract, sign him down to a new deal, even if that means negotiating into his final 12 months under the new manager, Ange Postecoglou. And if the team is showing signs of progress and it's exciting times at Tottenham, you never know. Harry Kane may decide that's where he feels he has a good chance of succeeding and winning trophies, which would be his dream. He and his family are Tottenham supporters. They would like nothing more. But clearly that hasn't happened to this point in time. We had the Manchester City situation in 2021 that didn't come to fruition. And now Bayern Munich have come in. And I revealed that Bayern Munich registered an offer of 70 million euros plus add-ons a couple of mornings ago. And that was rejected out of hand by Daniel Levy. But it showed the interest of one of the biggest clubs in world football. We understand that a move there would appeal to Kane if it came to fruition. And I think the expectation is that BeIN will probably go again. There have been reports suggesting that. Whether they'll be successful, I don't know, because I've always been led to believe that, firstly, Daniel Levy doesn't want to lose him, and so isn't putting a price on it or countenancing his sale. If he was going to be tempted to, it would take huge money, maybe £150 million or more, but that's largely speculation because he's never said that. Tottenham have never said that. Maybe an overseas club would stand a better chance than an English club like Manchester United, for example, who didn't want to get involved in a battle with Daniel Levy and didn't want to go to that level of finance that it might take to tempt him to part with Kane. And it's a player who, is 29 years old and won't particularly have a resale value, so you can understand that side of the coin. But equally, he's in the form of his life. He seems to be getting better with age. He stands, if he doesn't leave, to become a 30-year-old free agent with his pick of any club in world football in 2024, if he also doesn't sign a new contract. So it's going to be one that's really interesting and one to watch, but certainly from Tottenham's perspective, they'll hope to hold on to him. So now it's just about whether Bayern Munich or anybody else wish to test the resolve further. And don't forget, we've got a long way to go in the market, so a lot can still happen. But this time I don't sense any sort of agitation from Kane. The relations seem pretty cordial. I think it was a different case in 2021. And so whether he stays or goes, I think he'll be the ultimate professional and continue to play well, score goals. And it's one I cannot predict out of all the deals that are happening at the moment.
And you certainly predict a lot. David Ornstein, really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much, the Athletics football correspondent. We could really have him on for like 2 hours.
Yeah, really.
There's so many texts and tweets coming in, asking this, asking that. Just a busy man. I really like what he did there when I said that he broke the Declan Rice deal, and he rightly corrected me and said, no, it was actually Sammy Mockbell from the Daily Mail, the chief football reporter. And it shows it's a competitive industry, but they all get along and they all respect each other as well. Yeah.